Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is John and this is your Modern Tech Breakdown. Today let's talk about what these sweeping new tariffs announced by the Trump administration will mean to Apple. Let's jump into it. So here I've got an article from the New York Times about this topic, and I think it's fair to say that Apple probably has the most exposure of the big American tech companies to these tariffs. And I think there's some interesting nuggets to discuss. First, if you've been following Apple closely over the past half decade or so, you'll be aware that they've been diversifying their supply chain for some time now. Specifically, they've moved about 10% of iPhone production to India over 5 years, and production of AirPods, iPads, and MacBooks to Vietnam. But unfortunately for Apple, those two countries have also been hit by the tariffs. So Apple's move there from China really is not going to prevent them from being impacted. Also, you may recall that Apple built a plant in Texas for production of Macs. I believe that plant only produces Mac Pros, which is not a high volume item for Apple. And I have to assume that the plant is rather small in comparison to the overseas facilities. I can't imagine Apple could easily move significant iPhone or MacBook production to that facility. Now, Apple did announce some significant investment in building US-based manufacturing, but I don't think that's going to be ready for years. It has to take quite a bit of time to find the land, build the buildings, find people, train, set up tools, etc. So what's going to happen? I think this is the start of negotiations for better trading terms between all these countries. We don't have enough people here in the United States to make all these things that Apple needs for the world. It's really hard for me to imagine huge plants of hundreds of thousands of workers in the United States building iPhones. I just don't think we have population centers big enough to supply factories of that scale. I really think that these tariffs are meant to build leverage over China and others, and I think you'll start to see announcements of agreements being made between the United States and these countries where tariffs are being reduced or completely eliminated. And with China specifically, there's things on the table that both sides want. Trump would like a deal for TikTok and to bar Chinese cars made in Mexico. China would like to reduce these new tariffs and access to advanced silicon chips. So to me, there's probably a deal to be made here. For Apple specifically, prices may stay flat for some period of time if negotiations start quickly. I think Apple will not make knee-jerk price increases, as that would raise the ire of the new administration, and Apple's and others would have known that these are coming. So I have to imagine that they've built up some inventory buffer to deal with this tariff situation. But as soon as it appears that these tariffs could be in place for the long term, you might see some price changes from Apple and others. But the bottom line is this. Broadly speaking, no one knows exactly how this is going to play out. This really hasn't been tried in most of our lifetimes, but I think it's really interesting to watch, and we'll all find out together how it goes. But that's all I've got for now. As always, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you next time.